And now, making their way into the arena, hailing from the great pro wrestling state of Massachusetts, they are the hosts of the Top of the Cage podcast. Here are Bill and Juice.
And thank you again, Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, always making us sound so good. And yes, I am the super producer. I am Bill, joined always by my tag team partner, my wrestling confidant. He is the future booking genius and the prince of pro wrestling podcasts. He is Justin Juice Cannon.
Boom.
Boom. Bye-bye. Juice, this week we have the first time WWE is running a pay-per-view out of the UK in quite some time. I actually don't know the last time they ran a pay-per-view out of the UK. I don't know if you do.
Last time the plane ride from hell.
Was it?
I think it's a possibility. Yeah.
That would make sense. That would make sense. But I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for Clash of the Castle. I think that the matchups that are coming out are really unique. I think that the venue is going to be awesome, and I think that the crowd's going to be hot for it. And I think that overall we're in for a good day. For us, it'll be a day of wrestling.
Yeah, it's quite the weekend of wrestling. I mean, Clash of the Castle on Saturday, and then Sunday morning is Worlds Collide, and then Sunday night is All Out. It's just all the wrestling all the time. And then Monday, Labor Days, you got Raw. Fun times.
Quite the week of wrestling. This episode, of course, will be coming out after all of these events, so this will be in retrospect. But we still will give you our predictions, and then when you hear it on Monday, you're like, "Damn, they're smart,"
Or they're dumb.
Or they're dumb. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there, but it's okay. So let's talk Clash of the Castle. I think I want to talk about first and foremost the match that I am the most excited for, I think, out of any match this week. And that is Gunther versus Sheamus. Because as we said on the podcast before when the match got announced for the first time, these boys are going to slap meat, and Sheamus is going to turn red. Gunther is going to probably turn red from Sheamus's blood. I don't see Gunther losing. Although it would be pretty cool to see Sheamus win the Intercontinental title. That's the only title in the WWE he has never won. So I think both guys have good claim to winning, but I do think Gunther is going to retain here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ring general will walk away victorious, but with quite a lot of bruises and bumps along the way, because this is going to be a brutal match for sure.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I think the crowd's going to be so hot. I think that the action in the ring is going to be nonstop, all big clobbering moves. I kind of hope that the outside interference is minimal. I kind of hope that Papa H lets these boys wrestle. I think, obviously, being part of the buildup of Walter/Gunther in NXT UK and NXT, and of course, having wrestled Sheamus before himself, I'm sure he understands how to let these guys have a match, and I just kind of hope they let it breathe.
Yeah, I mean, there will be some type of shenanigans on the ring side because of both guys having their homies backing them up. But hopefully it doesn't really interfere with the outcome of the match too much.
And speaking of their homies, did you see that Butch recently was seen wrestling in his bruiserweight attire?
Yes. Bring me back, Pete Dunne, the bruiserweight.
I think it would be an interesting place to have Pete Dunne return to being Pete Dunne in the UK, but I don't think it should interfere with the match. I think we should let the match happen, and then maybe it can be some after-match shenanigans, because the crowd would pop for that change.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And then we get Forever Where's Butch memes, because this Butch won't come back, and they're like, "Where's Butch?"
Yeah, I'm super excited for that match. And then just kind of running down the card here, we also have Seth Rollins versus Riddle. This was supposed to be
frickin' Rollins.
Sorry, I
It's
gotta
like
put.
it's been official for quite a while.
I gotta put respect on the name. How dare I do that to Seth Rollins? Seth freaking Rollins. So this is going to be a match that was supposed to happen at SummerSlam, but now is happening at Clash at the Castle. What are your thoughts on it? I feel like it's kind of a little cold going into Clash at the Castle, but I still know that these two guys are going to put on a great show.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of like backstage skirmishes and just trying to drag it out since it was supposed to be at SummerSlam. And that was going to be my SummerSlam match tonight. I thought that was what most people were most excited for going to SummerSlam. They postponed it for Clash, obviously. I'm still excited. I think this could definitely. I mean, Gunther and Sheamus is what I think will be match of the night, but I think this could plant that or come very close. This is gonna be a banger for sure. And Riddle's my boy. Riddle's gonna squash him. I mean, it would be cool if Riddle just squashed him in like 10 seconds, but that's not gonna happen. It's gonna be a great match, but Riddle's gonna win because Riddle's better.
Yeah, I think that this would be a really good jumping off point for Riddle, getting a big win over a multi-time world champion, multi-time champion every other facet of the company, Royal Rumble winner, professional media main eventer, every other accolade we can put on Seth Rollins' name. He's been there, done that, and I think for one, I know you definitely feel this way. I think it's time for Riddle to take that next step into becoming a main eventer, and him coming over Seth Rollins in this match would be a good way to do that.
Yeah, it is a tough situation for both guys because as much as I am excited for the match, neither one of them I really think can afford a loss. I mean, I know people are like, wins, losses don't really matter in wrestling, but at this point, since they're both like upper card or fringe upper card guys, and if you're gonna put them in title situations or big match situations, then you have to get him wins. And Seth, he lost 3 times to Cody and kind of has lost quite a few times since. Riddle has also just been losing a lot recently. And they need a big win. This is definitely a big one for one, but then it's going to be a pretty critical loss for the other one. Now, we're talking about like Riddle needs momentum to get to the next level and finally be, for him to eventually win the title. But I know they like guys getting losses and keep stacking up losses and then overcoming the adversity. And maybe that's what they plan on doing with Riddle. Maybe he'll take the L here. And even though I want Riddle to win, and that's still my pick to win, I kind of see that being where they're headed. And I do think Seth needs to win a bit more because I don't know, like Seth needs to be put into something big very soon. Riddle, there's lots of options. Rollins, I think there's less options for what to do next.
Yeah, because I think in a sense, Riddle's also kind of biding time for Randy to come back. And then whenever Randy comes back, that can also be the big win that Riddle has to really bump him up. Kind of like what you're saying, kind of gives Seth momentum. Because I feel like if Drew loses, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but if Drew loses, I don't know who else there is for Roman to be facing right now. And I feel like Seth winning gives him a pretty good claim. We'll move on to a match that has like almost little to no builds. Almost forgot this was a match on the card, and it is the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which is Liv Morgan facing Shayna Baszler. Yeah, I honestly, like I said, kind of forgot that this was a match. Shayna Baszler won that gauntlet, and then Liv Morgan hurt her arm. So,
well, Shayna Baszler hurt Liv's arm worse, and now Liv is getting trained by Riddle how to do like submission defense and stuff, and they posted that on social media recently. It's a little build. I think you're right. You're definitely right. Little no build. I think Liv walks off the winner here, but I do think this is actually going to surprise. I think Clash of the Castle is going to be a pretty good event. Of the 5 matches that are announced so far, I'm interested in all of them. I think they're all could be at least 3-star matches, 3 stars out of 5.
yeah, I think Shayna has something to prove in this match too. Kind of her first time being back in the main event, almost seemingly since like she was hot coming in from NXT. And I think again, Papa H is gonna treat one of his more prized possessions from Black and Gold NXT well. But like you said, I still think Liv is gonna be getting the win here.
I could see it going either way because, like you said, Papa H loves Shayna, and I think this is going to be a return of dominant NXT Shayna. And one match that people have wanted for a little while is Shayna versus Ronda. And if they keep Ronda face, even though she just turned heel, like I could definitely do it that way. I just don't want to take Liv away from the title too soon. And I want her to get an actual win over Ronda eventually and like be more legitimate. I don't really love how they're treating her as champ so far. And then the crowd kind of ruins it too. Cause like a few weeks ago, she got like booed, and I was pissed. I was like, oh my God, like the fans are so fickle. Like they finally got what they want, and like they get sick of it in a week. Like seriously, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. Like let Liv be the champ. Don't turn heel. Like most fans are still behind her, and fans that are booing her at live events, fucking leave.
Fickle. Fickle.
Fickle, pickle.
Maybe Daniel Bryan was onto something before his time.
Yeah, I mean, Becky said it too.
Well, kind of talking about NXT stars, this next match, actually, I didn't really realize it until I was kind of just about to say it. This is a match featuring all women and all women who have come from the NXT brand. Most former, or some, well, not most, but a good amount former NXT Women's Champions. And we have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I think that this is going to be a banger of a match just because of every single person involved. Every single person is an amazing wrestler, and all can tell good stories. And if you want to argue that Dakota Kai isn't a good wrestler, Juice, now is your time. But I still think that this will be a great match.
You know, I think she's a good wrestler. She's just not for me. She's just not. Her style isn't. I'm not big on just overly kicks and kicks on kicks on kicks on kicks on kicks on kicks and kicks. I'm just gonna keep going the whole pod. It's just a little too much. But she's very good. I respect her. I like the spot. I like Control. I think Control gets the win here. You gotta keep, building momentum for them, making the top faction in WWE. They're so entertaining. I love them. I love Bayley. I love Io. Dakota's growing on me kind of because she's associated with the other two. I'm all for it. Also, I just want Alexa Bliss to just go back to being the goddess. Twisted Bliss with Bray was fun for a while. She was actually pretty funny. And now they're doing like a cross between like her face days when she was tag team and then cross and Twisted Bliss. And like, I don't like it. Like,
well, you know why they do it. It's because the Lily merch is selling out the wazoo.
Yeah, well, they'll probably still sell Lily dolls if she just goes back to being the goddess. And it's just like they still sell Stone Cold shirts. They still sell Rock shirts. They still sell Eddie Guerrero shirts. You don't need to be an active thing to sell merch. They still sell like Fiend stuff, I think. Like
that's true. I do think they
sell merch.
I do think they still sell the Fiend belt, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Which is $600.
Just bring back the goddess, get rid of Twist Bliss, get rid of Lily. Like they'll still sell Lily dolls. Like who gives a shit if it's on TV? Like people will still buy it because it still was a thing. It's still part of WWE history. Sadly. But yeah,
albeit infamously. But yeah, I agree. I am ready for a goddess to come back. That was one of my favorite wrestling characters from the women's division within the last 10 years. And yeah, like I love Alexa Bliss. I think she's a great character worker. But yeah, we need the goddess back. I need that multi-time women's champion back.
Facts.
And moving on to the last announced card or match of the card, we have the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. And part of me wants to say that Drew wins here, Juice. But then the other part of me is like, I can't see Roman losing. But then the other part of me is like, well, now there's the factor of Sami Zayn. And could Sami Zayn mess up the little situation? I know we're recording this before Raw, and the Usos and Sami Zayn are scheduled to be on Raw tonight. So people are rumoring that there's going to be some interaction between Sami, Kevin Owens, and the Usos, which might lead to an Usos versus Sami Kevin tag team match for the titles. The interesting thing is there's so many factors. And then you also have Karrion Kross lurking in the shadows. So there's just so many things that can go wrong for Roman in this match. And I guess wrong for Drew at that sense too with Karrion Kross. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Drew McIntyre is walking out of the UK as the Universal Champion, but I don't know. It's still tough to say.
It's so tough. And I was thinking about it too. Like, there's a lot of reasons why it would make sense for Drew to win. One, he's never had a title defense or title victory in front of a live crowd. He's never got his big moment. Well, world title. Like both his 2 world title wins, it was he was surrounded by people on screens. And he didn't really get his moment, his big moment. Like his big moment is really so far just winning the Royal Rumble. That was like his big crowd moment. So being in Cardiff and getting that win in front of a live crowd, he deserves it. And also, he's an NXT guy, Triple H guy. Triple H loves him. So I could see him giving him his moment. He's probably more into Drew than Roman. And then another thing going in Drew's favor is I think with Karrion Kross and Kevin Owens is still heel, and even Sammy, all being heels and all being the guys that kind of make sense being in the picture next at this point, it would make sense for Drew McIntyre to be the champ and not Roman, since I can't really think of many faces that are really worthy of being up next because Cody's hurt. Bobby Lashley's the United States champion. Johnny Gargano's just come back and feuding with Austin Theory, so he can't be put in that picture right away. So all those reasons point to Drew, but for some reason, my gut is telling me it's a trap. It's a trap to Star Wars, and that Roman's still going to win. All the signs point Drew, but I'm going Roman here. I think the tribal chief is going to walk out yet again and just continue his reign.
I don't. I definitely can see where you come from. I'm just gonna put it out into the universe that Drew McIntyre wins. Because 2 years of Roman Reigns, don't get me wrong, I acknowledge my tribal chief. He has been amazing these past 2 years, but it's run its course. I'm ready to see a new person with the title face new people in new matchups. And then there are a few matches, Juice, that people are rumoring are going to be on the card that might not be announced. We'll probably get some announced between tonight and Friday, I'm sure. And just to rattle those off here quick, people are saying there's going to be a Judgment Day versus Edge, Beth Phoenix, and potentially Rey Mysterio. There's also going to be Viking Raiders versus New Day, which I think is more than likely going to happen. I'm really excited for if and when that match does happen, though. And then there's also rumors of some form of a Miz match potentially with Dexter Lumis. That one, maybe.
I think from character aspect, I like it. I really like the Dexter Lumis character and the Miz. The Miz is just one of the greatest heels of the 21st century. I think that would be fun. Is that going to be like a technical thriller? No, but I think it could be fun. I think it could be really fun storytelling and just goofy and dramatic. And I actually kind of dig that if that happens.
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it'll be fun. I don't think it'll be your 5-star classic, but I think all of those matches could be fun. Actually, I think if any of those matches were on the card, I don't think it would hurt the card in any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, especially New Day versus Raiders. That's a banger. That I really hope that's on the card.
Well, and keeping on topic of WWE traveling over to the UK, we are actually seeing the end of NXT UK this weekend as well. As we mentioned at Worlds Collide, NXT UK will be ending, transitioning to NXT Europe. And then we also are getting the unification match between Tyler Bate and Breaker. And I think it's interesting that's ending.
We have another title unification match announced too.
The women's title. Yes, sorry. Also the women's title match. What are your thoughts on NXT UK ending at Worlds Collide and transitioning to the NXT Europe name, brand, whatever?
I'm excited for Worlds Collide. I think Braun Breaker versus the big strong boy Tyler Bate is going to be a banger. I loved my big strong boy dude. I remember him first in Walter and just a banger a few years ago. And that dude is just, he's like my height or maybe a little shorter. And the dude can pick up like 300-pound dudes. And he's just a physical fighter. This dude is the guy who put NXT UK in the map. I remember when Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate faced off in Takeover Chicago, and they both came out, and the crowd was, they didn't give a shit. They're like, who are these guys? Why should we care? What the fuck? And as the match progressed, they got more into it, and they ended up having the best reactions of the night because they put on a classic. Because that's what Tyler Bate does, dude. And Braun facing Tyler Bate, just power versus the little power. It's gonna be a banger. I think people are gonna be shocked by how good this match is. Like, I was so excited when Tyler Bate came out a couple weeks ago and they went toe to toe. I'm like, yes, it's a dream match for me for sure. And the triple threat women's match, Mandy, the final boss, Michael Satomura versus what's her name now? Bea Priestley, but she has a new name now.
Blair Davenport.
Blair Davenport. Okay.
I didn't know that either. If it makes you feel any better.
Kind of. I feel like Blair's probably just there to eat the pin, and I don't really like Blair Davenport that much. And Mandy, I like the reign, but I don't know. I don't think. I kind of hope Maiko just wins, to be honest. But I could see her losing, then moving her to the main roster. But we'll see. My pick's Maiko here, and then for Braun versus Tyler, it's Braun. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what other matches are announced. I know Gallus is going to have a match at some point, and we'll see what else happens for matches. They let go quite a lot of people, including I remember they let go of Millie McKenzie, who I remember Billy Stark said that's her current dream match. So maybe that can happen now for Billy. They let go a lot of talented people. Kind of sad, but I'm excited to see where NXT Europe takes off. Excited to see how NXT UK ends. And I'm excited to see how they use the NXT people that are left. If a bunch of them staying on NXT, who's going to be in NXT Europe, who's getting called up, and all of that, because there's quite a lot to sort out with all of that.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a single episode of NXT UK. I have watched matches, but never a full episode. So I don't really have an opinion or a feeling on it ending. I know a lot of people, like I know on Reddit, people joked that there was only 5 people ever in the live thread for every single time NXT UK was on. So like I definitely understand kind of the move. I'm interested to see what NXT Europe can do. And yeah, I think that these two matches we'll see at Worlds Collide are interesting. WWE also booking a pay-per-view the same day as All Out is super interesting. We'll see how it goes for him, because All Out is kind of questionable right now, if I'm honest. We'll get into that a little bit later. But before we get into that, you have another Mount Rushmore. I feel like we might as well just be renamed the Mount Rushmore podcast at this point, because we do so many of them, but I love them. I'm not criticizing them at all. You brought up a Mount Rushmore of UK wrestlers. A lot of them have come through the WWE system, so I think just seeing the NXT UK wrestlers that we'll be seeing, as well as just anybody who remains in NXT Europe, they might have the chance to get put on this Mount Rushmore. But I know, at least for me, none of them are currently on it. But let's get into the Mount Rushmore, Juice.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump right into it. Name my number one. It's easy. It's William Regal. That's my boy. William Regal, great general manager, great wrestler, just great commentary, great everything. That dude got great behind the scenes. That dude has done so much for wrestling all across the board in so many different ways, from getting talent, from being a talent, from helping grow talent, producing talent, everything. The dude's just a jack of all trades. Definitely was the first name I thought of.
No doubt. Yep. A number one for me too. Highest person at the peak of the mountain. William Regal is absolutely amazing. He's a credit to many of the great superstars we've seen grace our TVs, from Claudio to Danielson to anybody who was under his learning tree in the NXT UK or in NXT in general. Super excited to see kind of what just the future of William Regal has too. I mean, we're seeing him in AEW right now. As we said before, arguably the best thing going on in AEW right now is the Blackpool Combat Club. Super excited to see how he grows the young wrestlers, and super excited to see just the future of William Regal. But I cannot be upset with what we've seen already. Again, you kind of touched on everything. Man is a jack of all trades and does everything he does so well.
Yeah, I think the only thing we can be upset about is that this dude definitely should have won a world title at some point in his career. And it's definitely because of, backstage politics. And we know that he's had a troubled past. That's probably the main reason why he never got it. But Definitely guys deserving, and I'm sure in the future we'll do like a Mount Rushmore of best guys who've never won a world title, and he will 100% be on it on both of ours, I'm sure.
Him and Mr. Perfect. All right, Juice, what do you got for your number 2?
Another legend, oldie guy, Davy Boy Smith, the British Bulldog himself. This was tough. I'll be honest. I thought about having him and Dynamite Kid as just one spot and just the British Bulldogs, because but I ended up not having Dynamite Kid at all in my 4. I'm final. I'm sorry if people are pissed off with that, but it is what it is. But Davey Boy Smith, that guy has put so many classics, part of a great tag team, and he was a big part of not just WWE slash WWF, but also WCW. The guy's a legend and part of one of the most iconic wrestling families in wrestling history.
Completely agree. And actually, same thing as you. Funny enough, I was like, do I put both the Bulldogs on the list, or do I just put Davey Boy Smith on the list? Yeah, so I also have Davey Boy Smith on mine. I'm going to assume that we're going to have a very similar Mount Rushmore here, because I don't know who your number 3 is, but I don't really think I have any shock factor people on my Mount Rushmore. But let's hear what your number 3 is.
This is tough. My favorite British wrestler actually isn't William Regal. It's one guy I like more than Regal. That's not on my list. I didn't put him on my list because he just hasn't accomplished enough because of injury, sadly. But I think he's probably the best technical wrestler from the UK I've ever seen. He's an amazing commentator. And I think Ring Honor's greatest champion. And there's been a lot of great people in Ring Honor. And that's Nigel McGuinness. I think Nigel McGuinness is a stud. That dude has had so many classics. Guys like Tyler Black, a.k.a. Seth Rollins, Kurt Angle, and of course, we can't forget Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel McGuinness is so good. And then he goes into comment when he gets signed by WWE, he never got one match because of his injuries. And he was also, he got signed the same time that Bryan did. I think the guy would have had a tremendous career like Bryan if he actually got a chance to wrestle. And I think it's just so sad that he never got to, because the dude is just so incredible in the ring. And I love rewatching his matches all the time. He's, I think, one of the most underrated wrestlers all the time. But he's on my list, so I should stop talking about him. And the person that I did put on is actually Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch has, she's from Ireland. She's just done so much for women's wrestling. And I was going between her and Paige and Nigel too. But I was like, I need to put a woman on the list for sure. It's between Becky and Paige. I go Becky. Multiple time women's champion in both NXT and the main roster. First woman, the main event, WrestleMania. She's, a history maker. She is one of the leading forces of the women's revolution, and one of the, you could argue, the most successful of the 4 horsewomen. Maybe, well, yeah, her, Charlotte, right? Probably. You debate with one of those two. Yeah, I mean, Bayley's my favorite of the 4. And I guess you can put in, they're all pretty debatable. They've all accomplished so much. But yeah, Becky's the pick here for me.
So I didn't put Becky on mine, and I actually do have Paige on mine. The true Brit, somebody who came from a family of British wrestlers, somebody who jumped to WWE relatively young, the first ever NXT Women's Champion, debuting after Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 30 and beating AJ. That was just a super duper iconic moment for me. That moment in wrestling history for me is one of the ones that I watched live, and it really opened my eyes to not only women's wrestling. Again, that happened when I was, WrestleMania 30 was 8 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was only like 14, 15. So, I at that time, I didn't really have a love or respect for women's wrestling. And I think Paige is really a reason why. And you're talking about Becky Lynch being one of the biggest parts of the women's revolution. I'm talking about the person that started the women's revolution, baby. Paige is amazing. Again, somebody who put NXT on the map, somebody who was a big reason why women got the chance. Hashtag give divas a chance. And yeah, I think you just can't deny that Paige is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever come out of Britain. And yeah, I love me some Paige.
different iterations of my little list. I had Paige on there because she definitely is the one who started the women's revolution, and well, her and AJ, and there's no denying that. Final person on my list. This is tough. I kind of just switched it because I actually had Paige and Becky, and I switched Paige out for this person, and it's Finlay. It's Fit Finlay himself. Guy who's done quite a lot in wrestling in his wrestling career as a talent, and also behind the scenes, he has done a lot and still continues to do a lot. Guys, definitely important to the business, maybe underrated too. And we'll get into under honorable mentions after this, but there's definitely plenty people still worthy and people that so many people I could see you go with for your final spot, but I go with Fit Finlay.
I also am going with Fit Finlay for the same reasons you said. The pride of Belfast, the man that walked to the ring with a shillelagh, and like 10-year-old me was just like, I fucking love this dude. This dude looks like he's gonna go to the pub, smash a beer over your head, and then keep drinking afterwards. But regardless, Finlay, an absolute hard-nosed competitor, one of those people to really bring like a shoot style of wrestling to a main circuit. Again, had success in his younger years. We caught him at the end of his tenure. Of course, I saw him win a United States Championship. I saw him be a part of the King Booker's Court, both roles that he was excellent in. And of course, he also has a son, David Finlay Jr., somebody who is doing very well for themselves in the world of professional wrestling. Finlay himself being a third generation, right? I think Finlay himself's a third generation. Regardless, somebody who's been in the business forever, has a great mind for it. You hear a lot of wrestlers say that Finlay was a very integral part of their development within WWE too. So I'm sure he's had a hand in helping your favorite wrestler more than you actually know.
Yeah, and still does because he's still a part of it.
So let's get to the honorable mentions because I have at least 3.
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, I already said one, Nigel. Paige was another for me. Drew McIntyre's one. I think he has accomplished quite a lot.
Also
Paige
mine.
Barrett for sure is one.
Also mine.
Yeah, I can't. I love Wade. I still love Wade. Wade's the man. And then Dynamite Kid is another one.
Okay, so I actually have Pac as one of my honorable mentions as well. Dynamite Kid, though, like I said, I would have liked to put both the British Bulldogs on there. Yeah, I also have Pac on mine. I think you can't deny that Pac is continuing to be one of the greatest wrestlers that there is, especially within AEW. Definitely deserving of that All Atlantic Championship, but I would like to see him defended on AEW TV, though.
But I know that part of the belt is supposed to be defended everywhere, but AEW.
Just saying, I'd like to see it actually on AEW TV.
I would, because I want more Pac.
But yeah, I also just want to say Wade Barrett, my part of him. Again, one of the moments I witnessed live, not only the first iteration of NXT, I was one of those people voting for Wade Barrett every week. So I personally like to think that I was a big reason why Wade Barrett won NXT Season 1. But I was always a huge Wade Barrett fan. And then when the Nexus happened, again, witnessed that live as a kid, I was like, what the fuck is happening? The landscape of wrestling has changed. Just kidding. Super Cena went completely over them all because personally, like, I'm just going to say fuck Super Cena for that part. Like, the Nexus could have been this absolutely outstanding, amazing thing within WWE, and Super Cena just fucking buried it. But I think Wade Barrett should have been a multi-time world champion, should have been a world champion, even with Bad News Barrett. I think that was an amazing gimmick and super over for what it was. And yeah, I digress. Wade Barrett also continues to be a great commentator.
In my opinion, the best commentator right now.
All right. He's definitely up there. I think I'd probably put him at least top 3.
I think he's definitely top 3. There's some great commentators right now, but he's doing such a good job.
Yeah, but regardless, a guy who doesn't get his flowers enough, in my personal opinion, so I want to make sure Wade gets his flowers. And then with McIntyre, it's McIntyre. He's going to be a world champion again soon enough. All right, and if you guys hate our Mount Rushmore, or you think that there's somebody very important that we left off, which I really honestly can't think of too many other people. I know we were talking about offline that I couldn't even really think of a Mount Rushmore initially, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, there's like 7 people that I can think of now. Definitely let us know on social media.
Dude, I just thought of a big one we missed. I'm sorry to cut you off. Oh my gosh. Yeah, people will roast us. because I just thought of a huge one, and never mind, I'm a liar. He's not from the UK. I'm just dumb.
Can I guess on who you're gonna say?
Yeah, he's from Canada. He's not even from the UK. You can guess. I don't even want to admit it.
Now I don't even know who you're gonna say.
Good. I don't want anyone to know.
What can you tell us?
Huh?
Can you tell us?
No.
All right, we'll talk off air and then I'll tweet it. All right. Well, I know we've done a lot of WWE UK talk as they approach the United Kingdom pay-per-view, but with Worlds Collide happening on Sunday, they are clashing with AEW All Out. And as we alluded to earlier, we are going to touch upon AEW All Out a little bit here. And currently we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches on the... No, I can't count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 matches on the card. And that is including the AEW Trios Championship and the Casino Ladder match. Juice, let's start with... I guess let's start with one of the matches that I think has the biggest implications out of the whole pay-per-view, and that is the AEW Interim Women's World Championship match featuring Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Shida. I think all 4 of these women have a great claim to the title. I think it's time we push Hayter.
Honestly, hot take. I mean, I'll put my prediction here. I think Toni wins, but I don't want any of them to be champ. Hikaru, Shida already was, and I thought she was like, I loved her when AEW first launched. She was probably my favorite, and then like her title reign just ruined her for me. It was just boring and stale. Had some good matches, but like wasn't on TV enough, which wasn't her fault. But when she was, she just didn't have enough charisma, in my opinion. I thought she was kind of flat. Britt Baker's great in the mic, but I don't need another Britt Baker reign. Jamie Hayter, I like Jamie Hayter, but I don't think she's ready for it. I don't think she'd be on TV that much either. Toni Storm, I don't think Toni Storm's ready for a world title anyway either. To be perfectly honest, I kind of want them all to lose, and I want like a 5th surprise contest. No, two surprise contestants to come in, and I want them to be Allie, and I want them to be Serena Deeb, and one of them to win, because they both wrestle circles between all 4 of them. Take that, they suck. Serena Deeb and Allie are the best.
I think that's a bold claim. I know we've gone on record saying that AEW might have the weakest women division in all of professional wrestling right now. However, I still think that Jamie Hayter, I think, has fans behind her and is getting better every week. And I think that she will be the interim women's champion. Is there better people? Sure. But I don't think that out of any of these 4 women, they would suck as bad as you think they would. But
I don't really suck, because I'm not saying I hate any of them. I just don't think it'd be that interesting title reign, and I think it would be flat, and I don't think it'd be any different from what we've seen, because I don't think they have enough to really capture enough attention of Toni in the crowd, because Toni's just not putting women, even the champ, on TV enough. And I mean, maybe Deeb wouldn't either, because Deeb's mainly just, it's her matches that draw people, not her talking. But I love Deeb. And then Allie, I think Allie does have the charisma. I think she does have the creativity to attract the crowd and be entertaining every week, not just in her matches, but promos, vignettes. She's extremely creative and an extremely great storyteller and character worker, and they just haven't used her enough. And I think it's been one of their biggest failures.
And I think she knows it too.
I hope so.
Well, let's move on to the other women's championship match that is on this card. And we have Jade Cargill versus Athena. I don't see Jade Cargill losing here.
Really, I do.
Oh, okay.
I think the streak ends.
Okay. I mean, hey, I love Athena. I think Athena is one of my favorite wrestlers to come from NXT, to also grace the AEW women's division right now. But I just think Jade is too hot. I don't know if there is anybody better. You know, I think Athena would be a good person to beat the streak. We'll see what happens. I also am not expecting too much out of this match, I'll be honest. I think that's just more of a weak division than it is the actual wrestlers in the match sort of thing.
I think it'll be a fine match. And I want more Athena on my TV because she's been really funny when she was pretending to be a baddie and just like, I don't know, her taunting Jade has been really funny. I think she'd be a pretty fun champion.
One thing that I don't think is funny is talking about a dude's dead dad. So quite a transition, I know. But let's talk about Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. I think that these two dudes are going to impress the fuck out of everybody with this match. I think that this has been something the fans have been looking for a blow off for a while. I think that both these guys, I think Christian's going to have that one last thing to prove, put over Jungle Boy, and I think Jungle Boy is going to show everybody like, hey, I should be a bigger player than I actually am.
Yeah, this is definitely the match that's had the best build and the one I'm probably excited for the most. I'm all for it. And Christian Cage has just been the biggest dick in the world, and it's been awesome. And Jungle Boy has really shown that he's better on the mic than I thought he was. He still has work to do, but he's had some good promos in this feud. And I've been digging this feud a lot, and I can't wait for the blow off.
Yeah, Christian Cage just such a fucking dick in this whole entire thing. But hey, I mean, Edge always told us that Christian was a dick. You heard it in all like the interviews and people being talking about Christian saying that he's a dick in real life. So, you know, he's just showing
it. For prediction, I'll go Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I think it's easy Jungle Boy winning this match. And then another match I think is pretty interesting, something that has had a relatively decent build. Ricky Starks versus Will Hobbs. I have no idea who's going to win this match because I think that both these guys not only can afford to win, but can't lose. Like, I do not have any idea who is going to come out on top here. Regardless, it's going to be an amazing match. I think both these guys are going to really show out. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Hobbs is the one that ends up winning here because Ricky can take a loss or two because you want to build Hobbs as this like unstoppable monster. But I love Ricky Starks. Love Ricky Starks. I think he can look good in defeat here. I think that he just needs to cut one promo afterwards and he'll be fine. But yeah, I think Hobbs is winning this one.
I think Stark wins, but I want this to keep going afterwards. I want to make a trilogy out of it, not all on pay-per-view, but yeah, I kind of want Hobbs to win. Maybe even Hobbs win the second one, and then Ricky Starks wins the third if there's a third. But yeah, I'll go with, I think Ricky Starks is going to win, though. I think this might as well just end here. And then he'd go into a title picture.
Let's talk about a match that does have like almost little to no build. Well, I guess it has some sort of build. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland defend the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Acclaimed. First off, fucking love the Acclaimed right now. Juice, you want to scissor me real quick? All right. Or scissoring for those of you who listen to us. But, yep, so I don't think the Acclaim are winning, though. I just don't see it happening. Also, where the fuck is FTR?
You have a match on the card.
Well, yeah, but like, where the fuck are they in the World Tag Team Championship scene? Because they are number one, and they've been number one for a while. So,
well, I think the issue is that they have too many belts that they don't have anywhere.
Give them all the fucking belts.
Yeah, I don't care. Don't have anywhere to put them, and if they get too much gold, then their backs will hurt and they'll get injured. Billy, do you want them to get injured?
No, but they're strong enough to carry all those belts. I've seen them wrestle matches before, Juice. But yeah, for this tag team match, though, I have like no real. I know Keith Lee and Swerve are going to win. I think the Acclaim are perfectly fine. I think that they're a great tag team, but I don't think this match will be anything outside a good match. You know, just it'll be good.
I think it will surprise. I think it's going to be a really entertaining match. It's just there's no build. It'll just be a spot fest. That's what it's going to be. And I think AEW needs to stop relying on spot fest match. And I think the crowd needs to stop really. They fuel that. Like, you give them the hardcore matches and the flips, and the crowd freaks out for that. But when you give them a good storytelling match, they like it, but not as much as seeing 4,000 flips to the outside. And the AW crowd needs to really realize that if you want good storytelling and good builds, and you want a good ends that make sense and good booking, then you need to stop feeding into these spot fests in time and giving them more reaction than the matches that deserve more. But It's gonna be a fun match. I'm entertained by it. I'm gonna be entertained by it for sure. I love Keith Lee. I love Swerve. The claims are fun. They're entertaining. I mean, Max Caster is a ripoff John Cena, but he does it in an entertaining and fresh way. Like you can't deny it's the same gimmick as Dr. Thumbnagus. It's just like he puts his own original spin on it that is unique and it is fun and it is fresh.
He has gotten Cena's blessing for it too. Cena has posted him multiple times on social media. So
As he should. He's doing a good job. They're definitely going to be tag champs at some point. I just don't think it's going to be now. I saw somebody we follow on our social media say, "Oh, Acclaim's going to win. It's their time. Keith Lee and Swerve have been great champs." I'm like, have they? Because they've had the title for what, a couple months, and they haven't really had a feud. It's just a couple. They've had some great title matches, a couple, but they haven't done anything with their reign yet. Tag titles don't really feel important right now, and I think if Keith Lee and Swerve beat a team that just came out with actual storyline and beat a team like the Acclaims, it definitely will put them in the right spot to making tag titles feel important again. And they need to be important again. And these are two dudes that can definitely make it feel important again. So give them more time on TV, make the titles matter again. Because they have for so long and they just started not mattering just, I don't know, probably 6 months. Probably the tail, like the second half of Jurassic Express's reign, they kind of started to lose the flair that they had.
I actually forgot that they were tag team champions before.
See, that's my point.
I actually forgot that. Because I was trying to remember. I was like, how did Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland beat the Young Bucks? And then I was like, wait a minute. They didn't beat the Young Bucks.
No, they did. They did. It was a triple threat tag.
Right. Okay. Right. But yeah. But kind of just what you're saying though. Like when you have teams like the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks in your company, they do get overshadowed.
Yeah, it went Jurassic to the Young Bucks, and then Young Bucks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks versus Lee Strickland in a triple threat tag, and that's how they won.
Right.
So the Jurassic Express weren't even involved in the championship match where Lee and Swerve won.
We can move on down the card here and talk about the tag team that I think should hold the tag team titles. FTR teaming up with Wardlow. We get a Pinnacle reunion versus Jay Lethal and a tag team that I bet you're very happy to see on this pay-per-view with the Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City. Yes. Give me. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley have been just on past few years, ever since they came back in Impact, and been killing the Indies, killing the Impact, killing it everywhere they go. These dudes are just sensational. I think one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. Two of the most underrated wrestlers. These guys are studs. They are world traveled. They only put bangers. They have launched the careers of so many tag teams in AEW and WWE. Like a lot of people owe their careers to these guys because their first big matches were because they wrestled the most of Machine Guns. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, legends. And this match is going to be a banger. I actually think I was surprised to announce, and I'm extremely excited because I'm a huge Motor City guy. And Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are my boys. Yes, give me this. Yes. And Wardlow and FTR win.
Yeah, I don't.
Hyping up my boys, but they're going to win.
Don't disagree with you, but yeah, when you get FTR and the Motor City Machine Guns in there, just kind of doing I'm sure there's going to be a sequence where it's just the four of them doing like a tag team match, or just at least like a couple minutes of a tag team match. I'm sure that's going to be really unique sequences, really fun. And yeah, I'm excited for this match too. I think all 6 guys are amazing that are going to be in this match. Seeing Alex Shelley wrestle live too at a Beyond show, that was really fun. And I've, again, seen my fair share of Motor City Machine Gun over the years. Never really have been an Impact faithful, so never really saw their rise and saw other tag teams beat them to become so good. But yeah, I definitely respect both Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley's abilities in the ring and as a tag team. And yeah, I also think though that Wardlow and FTR will be winning this one.
I actually switched my pick. I think they're going to lose because now that I think it's going to set up a title match between Jay and Wardlow and FTR and Motor City. So I think Jay Lethal's mostly going to win because there's going to be some shenanigans because Jay Lethal's got his big, his boys backing him that aren't in the match. So let's say they win, and then on TV eventually we get Jay Lethal versus Wardlow. which I'm excited for that. And FTR versus Motor City, which oh my god, give me that. That's gonna be 5 stars, baby. Give me that. Oh my god, I can't wait. Just give it to me now, like right now, like right in my backyard. Well, I don't have a backyard, right in the street. Just put a ring right in my road right now. Give me the match. I want to watch it. Give me.
Well, I don't know how to move on from that, but we will. Well, Juice, you want to be sports entertained, it seems. So why not talk about the sports entertainer of the millennia, the Lionheart Chris Jericho going against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson? I think that this match is either going to be really good or really bad. I don't know if there's going to be an in-between for this one.
That is fair. And I'm going to be the optimist and say it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think that Jericho and Bryan have enough history between each other, understanding of how each other works, and of course the years between the two is just immaculate. The amount of matches wrestled between the two is immaculate. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be really bad. The only reason why I'd say it'd be really bad is just if there's too much shenanigans. I just don't want the match to be overbooked. Like, it is Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. It should just be as simple as that. That is what the match should be. Let these two tear it down. Let Jericho show he can still go, and let Bryan show why he is why he is
Daniel freaking Rollins.
Hey, I think Bryan Danielson's better than Rollins. Hot take, maybe, but
You got winning.
I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to say that. I still think it's going to be Danielson, though, mainly because I think that Jericho can afford losses, and I feel like Danielson is going to eventually be put into some sort of world title feud and win it, and I think him losing to Jericho would not help his record.
I'll go with Danielson, too, because part of me thinks that Punk's going to get the title back against Mox at All Out. And then we're going to get Punk versus Danielson. So I'll go Danielson here.
And the last thing we haven't talked about is the casino ladder match. I don't even think anybody's been announced for it, have they?
No, not yet. They'll probably, which is weird because they have 2 shows to do that, right? It's weird. Usually they're really good at building things, and like things are already, the cards usually almost completely done at this point, and it's not. Feeling a little, Vincey. Tony Kahn is turning into Vince, but yeah. So there's that. I can't really pick a winner when I don't know who's in it. But we do have another match that we could predict, which I mean, it's not actually the exact match is made, but the AEW World's Trio Championship is also on the card, and I think the Elite's gonna beat the House of Black. I would really love the Dark Order won the whole thing.
Well, Dark Order has already beaten the House of Black.
Oh, they did? That happened Friday? This is why I need to watch Rampage again.
See, and that's potentially leading up to another potential all-out match in Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro versus Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, can you cut that?
Cut that.
Yeah, I didn't even look up the results of Rampage because I was so uninterested.
Yeah, I think the Elite are going to be winning too. I could see them fighting the Dark Order in the finals, though, and kind of it being the Hangman, because actually from Rampage as well, 10 got hurt, so the Dark Order is having a mystery partner in their semifinal match, which is going to be Hangman, let's be honest. And then I think that's going to set up Reynolds, Silver, and Hangman versus the Elite. But I do think the Elite are going to come out on top, because you can't have a title established and not have it be literally the top 3 stars in your company being the ones to hold it.
Yeah, for sure. Not the House Black, because the House Black lost, I guess.
And just to kind of wrap it up, Juice, there are a few other potential matches that people are rumoring, one of which is Pac versus Kip Sabian, which, again, we did actually have Kip Sabian attack Pac after a match, which I think is pretty interesting. Kip Sabian is officially back. I never have really been a big Kip fan, but I think I just kind of hated his old gimmick. I don't know about you.
I like Kip. I think he's funny. I think he does good character work. He's extremely athletic. It's usually not my favorite style of wrestling, but I've always been entertained by Kip. It was a huge loss for me that he was off TV. No, but I kind of want him back because I like him in some capacity. I don't need him every week, but I do like to see him at least once a month.
And then, of course, there's potential for an FGW championship match where some part of 2.0 are going to be facing Hook. I don't think that match will happen, though, honestly. And if it does, it's just going to be Hook squashing them.
That sounds like a buy-in match.
Yeah, it's rumored to be a pre-show match. Right. We also have rumors of Eddie Kingston versus Sammy Guevara, but I think that's just because of the backstage fight or quote unquote fight that happened between the two. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
No, what happened?
Really? You didn't hear anything about that?
No, like an actual fight?
Yeah. So I guess legit. Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara got into like an argument. And I guess like Eddie Kingston was like in Sammy's face, and you know Sammy just has that smug douchebag face. People were saying that Sammy just was smiling and laughing in his face, and Eddie Kingston like whitewashed him, like just like literally like shoved. Like people were saying he just like shoved his hand into his face and like rubbed it and pushed him away, and that was like the end of it. And actually Eddie Kingston caught a lot of heat for that on Twitter. He actually had like a series of tweets being like, "All right, guys, like." I'm a grown man, like I get it. I fucked up. Sorry. Like, and then like he like literally Sammy Guevara also like tweeted out like, don't worry, like we made up, like Eddie apologized. Like it was a big thing. Like Eddie caught a lot of heat for it. People were really upset about it. I think it was just kind of a Eddie Kingston, and I don't want to say notorious hothead, but definitely not afraid to let his opinion be voiced. And Sammy Guevara just having the most punchable face that's ever existed. I just think the two combustible elements met each other and they blew up a little.
Yeah, I missed that. I think that's just the bad side of me working all weekend now.
that was a major wrestling news story over the past couple of weeks. Surprised you didn't hear anything about that.
No, I didn't know that was a thing at all.
But yes, and just the last thing too, there's rumors of potential Ring of Honor title defenses, but again, they literally have 2 shows to set any of those up, and I don't see that happening.
We do know Tony Kahn loves having 50 matches on a show, on a pay-per-view, and having 10-hour pay-per-views. So, we'll see.
Yep. And then, of course, there's also a rumor that Moxley and Punk are going to be fighting again, and Punk's injuries at work, this, that, and the other thing. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, people, I know I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to say it because people take everything seriously, but I was exaggerating by saying 10 hours.
I mean, the WWE has definitely been worse historically, so I'll
not as much recently though. AEW has just always been long in their entire 4-year existence. Their pay-per-views just never end.
Yep, everything goes right to the wire. But all right, Juice, so that is it for us. Is there any other last All Out Clash of the Castle or Worlds Collide takes you want to give out to the world before you plug our social medias?
No.
Well said. Well, if people want to give us their own predictions or talk about the matches with us as they happen, where can they do so?
They can go to Twitter and type capital T, capital O, capital T, capital C, underscore, capital P, lowercase o, lowercase d. On Instagram, do the same. TOTC underscore POD, all lowercase.
Yes, and as we come crashing down to the mat on this episode of Top of the Cage, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and you do not leave us a 5-star review, that means that you, specifically you, that person not giving us the 5-star review, will not get 5-star content, and that is just a fact. And again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.